Hi everyone, can you hear me? Caroline, that's perfectly fine. Hi Alison, hi Dawn, hi Lynn. What's your weather been like today? It's in the 30s here in the UK today. Hi Pat. I'm absolutely melting. Loud and clear, great. Yes, loud and clear. Hi Maria, hi Anna, hi Maura, Jennifer. Everyone's saying loud and clear, that's good. 26 degrees today for you, Alison. Okay, I think they said it was going to get to about 31 here today. I've not actually looked because I've been in work all afternoon and I've been mad busy. 31 in Costa Blanca. Oh, not overcast here at all. Absolutely sunshine and hot. It's supposed to be the same, I think, tomorrow and then storms on Friday afternoon. Right, everyone's jumping on. Let me... So I look a complete and utter mess tonight. I'm really sorry. I've literally just been home about 40 minutes and had to try and get organised for this. I usually organise everything on a Wednesday morning, but I went out with Hannah this morning. We had a nice morning together and then I had to go straight to work. So I've literally run home and tried to set all this up. So if it goes according to plan, it'll be a miracle. Hi Mags. Anna saying very hot here in Nova Scotia. You're having a heat wave. Oh my lord. 34 in Canada. Mandy G definitely is a warm one. But 36, Paul. Oh my days. I bet you are melting. I'm melting. And I think, as I say, we were forecast 31. Really not in South Derbyshire? Well, in North Derbyshire, I can tell you, it's blistering. Anna, yes, it is my birthday. Thank you. That's why I went out with Hannah this morning. She's been working on a Wednesday all day. She doesn't normally. She normally does Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But for the last 6 weeks, they've been asking her to go in on a Wednesday. So she took the morning off. I've been going back to work now and I'm doing Wednesday afternoon. So we went out this morning, nothing exciting, but we had a drive out down near where the golf club where she works. We got a Subway, sat in her car, had some Subway and a drink, and then she went off one way to her work and I went off the other way to mine. Hannah went a bit overboard with my birthday this morning and bought me that one you can just see the side of. It looks like a, what do you call it, a candy, a toffee. It's huge. It's about 3 foot wide. It's Hannah's birthday in 6 days, so I said, can we reuse it? She was a bit disgusted with me. Oh, thank you, everybody. It's fine. But yeah, she bought. There's another balloon. I'm not sure if you can see it behind my head. Let me move to one side. There's a pink balloon as well. She literally wouldn't let me get out of bed. She set everything up downstairs on the kitchen table, put these balloons up, put lights on, put all my presents on it. She'd even made some cupcakes last night while I was in bed, put them on the table. It was lovely. It was really funny. Proper makeshift, but nice. You know, nothing fancy. She'd use a bed sheet to cover the kitchen table. Oh, thanks everybody. Right, let me try and... Oh my days, let me try and flick a screen and see what's going on. Right, so before we go any further, I know there was a bit of a split decision on Sunday about whether we revisit saving or not, but I really am getting a lot of questions from people still about the saving, like how you save something from the machine into Canvas Workspace for computer, vice versa, how things are looking in Canvas for computer as opposed to Canvas online. I've just seen Anna saying, "Sweet Hannah." Yeah, she's lovely, honestly. I think she's more excited every year about my birthdays than me. Our birthdays are 6 days apart, and obviously mine's first, then it's Hannah's. And every year she seems to get worse. And yesterday she kept saying, "It's your birthday tomorrow. Can you believe it's your birthday tomorrow?" And then I went to bed last night and I couldn't, and I thought, she said she was going to bed and I went to bed. And then she messaged me and I said, "Where are you?" And she said, down, just downstairs speaking to Dad. And I said, "Oh, okay." But apparently she was making cakes because she said, "Did you not hear the mixer?" I said, "No, not a thing." So, right, Charlotte's saying it doesn't need to be fancy to be happy. I know, bless her. But she'd wrapped everything up, as I say, put it all on the kitchen table, and we have quite a big oak kitchen table, but she obviously wanted to fancy it up a bit. Couldn't find anything, so she'd bought a big banner saying happy birthday, put a big plain white bed sheet over it, and then put all the presents on it. It was lovely. Hi, just joined. I assume it's your... Yeah, sorry, Debbie, it is. Right, I'm going to crack on. Anyway, so, as I say, the saving business seems to be still a bit of an issue. And I've also had people asking about SVGs. So I'm going to try and combine the two. I'm going to try and speak about the SVGs first. And then if any of you don't want to hang around with regard to the saving, you know, that's perfectly okay. I don't mind, honestly, if, you know, you drop out. This will be recorded, hopefully, as they always are, and it'll be in the playlist called Live. All these things I'm doing on a Wednesday and Sunday, just for anybody that might be new, go in a live playlist. And then all my other videos that I upload weekly and that kind of thing go into playlists that kind of match the topic. So if I'm doing Canvas Workspace for web, there's a playlist for that. If I do Canvas Workspace for computer, there's a playlist for that. If I do something directly on the machine, there's a playlist for that. So I kind of try to categorize them all for you. So Bonnie's saying, "I'm a total newbie to this stuff, so I'm very excited." Okay, well, I hope you learn something, Bonnie. But as I say, there's loads of... I've been on YouTube 6 years or maybe longer. So there's loads of videos on my channel, Bonnie, Apple Lover 53, if you didn't already know, but I assume you do because you're watching on YouTube. Charlotte's saying, "My question is about doing work on the computer, but saving it to the online My Projects, and should we even worry about that?" No, you can save them either way. Right, let's jump into it. So, let's go to my desktop and see if we've got a blank desktop. Okay, so this is my desktop. In the top right hand corner, there's a folder. Not sure how well you can see it, but it's a blue folder, and its title is 24th of June SVG. This is where I've been on the internet and I've just grabbed a couple of SVG files. I did this over the weekend. This is about the only preparation I've done for tonight. And I've put them in a folder. Bonnie's saying she's watched a few of the videos. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is open up this folder. So within this folder, which I've just named 24th of June, I've got 3 other folders, and these are the folders for files that I downloaded just straight off the internet. What the heavens is that? Oh, a great big helicopter's just flown right over my house. So if you can hear that, or the house shaking, that's what it is. So we've got something called Blossom Tag, Gift Wallet, and something called LSVG Wedding. Can't remember what the heck I've downloaded, but I'm just going to double click onto the Blossom Tag. And quite often this is how, when you download SVGs, this is how you'll get them. Sometimes you'll just get them as an individual cutting file. So literally just, you know, tag.svg, or sometimes you'll get them like this. So, you know, these are probably good examples to show you. So within this folder, there's a PDF document, which I'm assuming is going to explain what the cutting file's all about. And then there's this blue folder that says SVG. So if I double click on that, within this folder now, did you hear it, Karen? It literally has just flown across the top of my roof. It's come over the hill, big hill mountain thing in front of my house, and just flown straight over my roof. Tony, don't worry. Yeah, I wonder if it is a nice surprise for me. I doubt it. Anyway, so in this folder, it says flowers_taffy SVG, main label white SVG, and panel pool SVG. So there's obviously a few elements to this file. So that's just so you know where I'm pulling the SVGs from as we go on. So I've got a folder on my desk with 3 different SVG files in it. I'm going to open up Canvas Workspace for web. So you should now be able to see, no, that's the wrong one. That's for PC. Here we go. So Canvas Workspace for web. Okay. I'm going to choose a new, probably knowing my Hannah, I'm going to choose a new project, and then I'm going to come to the icon here that says SVG. Now, if any of you buy ScanNCut cutting files in the normal FCM format, this is the same icon that you pull them into Canvas with. It's a bit confusing when it just says SVG on it, but when you hover over it, it says import SVG, DXF or FCM files. Funny, Paul. So I'm going to go to SVG, then it says choose file. So I'm going to click on choose file. Now I've got quite a few things running here tonight because I've got the ScanNCut in here with an iPad on it, and I've got the desktop and I've got me. So if things are running slow, you're going to have to bear with me. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and here's my folder, 24th of June. And we'll start off with Blossom Tag. So I'm going to double click to open it, and then I'm going to double click on the SVG file. And then, as I said, it looks as though it's in 3 parts. So I'm going to click the first part and say choose. And it's showing me its name here, and I'm going to say OK. And this is the first element. Now I'm going to move it over to one side because I'm going to bring all 3 elements onto the mat at the same time, and they always drop in the top left hand corner. So I'm going to come back to the SVG icon. I'm going to hit choose file again. This time I'm going to choose the second element, say choose, say OK, and now I've got another part of this design. And then I'm just going to bring in the last element and say choose and OK. Okay, so now this looks like the main body of the tag. Now, I'm just going to zoom in on something. Not sure if you're going to see this, but if you look at the tag here, I've had a lovely day, thank you, Tony. A nice time with Hannah this morning and then been in work this afternoon. Okay, if I just click away, can you see down here next to the next to the tag, there's a little black mark, and that's some kind of stray node that if you just sent this to your machine now, it would cut this tag and it would try and cut that little bit there. So when I click on it, I can't click on that tiny little bit. It's selecting the whole thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a right click and see if I can ungroup, and I can't. So there's no ungroup option. So I'm going to click away, select it again, and then I'm going to see if I can divide it. So I'm going to go right click, divide. And now the box that was surrounding everything has disappeared. So when I click on the tag, I've got the tag, and I can move it out of the way, and I can drag a little imaginary box over this node, and I can get rid of it and delete it. So obviously when this file has been made, there's been a stray node left there. And when the person saved the file as an SVG, they've not got rid of it. So that's the first thing. So let me just go back to about 45% view and get you in here. So now this next element again is 2 elements, and you may not want to cut both of these, because to me it looks as though this layers up on top of the tag, because in that photo there was a PDF. If I just go back to my desktop and see if we can open this. So this file was from Dreaming Tree, and as you can see, here's a picture of how it should look. So you've got this kind of turquoisey background, you've got the white frame and the flowers, and when you come down here, it's telling you the size of each of the elements. So it's saying that the flowers should be 2 inches wide, and I'm assuming that's as they are grouped. And it's saying that this label section is 3.8 wide, but from looking at this on the mat, these 2 elements are a group. So that 3.8 wide will be the total of these 2 together. So let's get rid of that and let's close that. So again, I'm going to right click, there's no ungroup, I'm going to hit divide, and the bounding box that was surrounding both has disappeared. So that usually means that you've been able to divide them, which basically means you've split them up. So if I click on this now, I've got 1 element, and then I've got this element here separately. Now it said our flowers were 2 inches wide. So if I click on the flowers and they're grouped, if you look down at the bottom of my screen, you can see they're 2 inches wide. So this design looks as though it's coming into Canvas at the right size. Now sometimes they don't, and this is why if you get some kind of a PDF document in your folder, it's good to have a look at the PDF document, and then you can see what size the elements that you're bringing onto your mat should be. So I'm going to colour this here in white, just to make it look a little bit more like it looked in the PDF document. So I'm going to come to the properties box, and I'm going to change it from pale blue to white. And then I'm just going to put it on top of the tag. And then the flowers, again, look as though they're all grouped. So I'm going to right click. Again, there's no group or ungroup. I'm going to hit divide. And then I'm assuming that they go on here somewhere. Hang on, I've got strange things going on with my computer now. So I'm guessing that they go somewhere like that. So let's just zoom you in to have a look. So you've obviously got 3 elements. You've got the turquoise main layer at the back, which is the main tag. You've got this white area that's got cutouts in it, and then you've got these 3 flowers that you can layer up. So from here, I would just, you can either regroup the flowers, or I tend to just put things kind of grouped together, but not necessarily always a group, if that makes sense. So these are still individual items, but I've got them on the mat kind of over here on the right hand side. And then The white section I would, bring down on a different part of my mat. I've got this, and then I've got this that is obviously something spare. So from here now, let me catch up with what you're saying. I know you're busy, but I use a plain tablet. I don't have the SVG button. If you're using something like an iPad, it's probably under, I think, the edit menu. You need to find something that looks like the edit or these boxes here. And then it'll be there. I mean, an iPad for Canvas might have to be a whole other topic. Another daft question, why Canvas Workspace for web and not PC? I'm going to do it in both, Barbara. But as I say, I always tend to use the for web version for the simple reason that I save most of my files in the cloud. So it's not taking up space on my computer. If I use for web, I've either then got to save it to my desktop and then upload it into Canvas online, or I've got to save it on my computer somewhere, taking up space. So I kind of always tend to lean to Workspace and save them in the cloud online. So from here now, I would just, call this, maybe it was Dreaming Tree, wasn't it? So DT tag, then save it. And it says, saving this project is complete. So if I go back to the Canvas Workspace title at the top of the page and go to My Projects, it's here, DT tag. Okay. Now, if I want to download this to my ScanNCut machine, you've got various options. If I click download, for any of you that have got Wi-Fi, you would use the ScanNCut transfer. For any of you that don't have Wi-Fi, you would download it to your computer. So I'm going to do it transfer via Wi-Fi first. So I'm going to hit transfer. It's saying the transfer is ready and I can close. I'm going to come to my other screen now, and you should hopefully be able to see my machine. Patty, don't worry. Oh, you got a haircut, brilliant. Ours open from the 4th of July, so I'm hoping to get my haircut. It's never been this long. That's why it's totally tied up round the back of my head. I don't normally wear my hair like this. Mandy G, Helen's saying, Mandy, SVG scalable vector graphic, yeah, which means that it's a graphic file that's scalable and resizable without losing any. Perfect description, Helen Rooks. Thank you very much. That's fab. I love it that you're all chipping in now, because I miss comments, Caroline, thank you. Hi, Karen. Right, so you've just seen me transfer that file wirelessly. So I'm going to come to my machine now, and I'm going to use retrieve data, and I was in Canvas. Now, the icon on the right here is Canvas for computer or Canvas for web. So it's the same icon that you use no matter where you bring in the file from, if it's a Canvas file. So I'm going to choose Canvas, and there is my tag. So you can see the main background of the tag, the top element, the flowers, and that kind of scallop type shape thing, yeah? So you've just watched me bring an SVG, which I got off the internet, into Canvas online, save it online, and then also transfer it to the machine. Now, if you want to save it to the machine as well, you just click save and then choose machine. and then it'll tell me in a minute what number it's saved as. It'll probably say something like 100 and something. I've not got anywhere near that amount of, it says 134, so say okay. I've not got anywhere near that amount saved on this ScanNCut, but basically every time you save something, it gives it a number, and when you delete it from the machine and then put another one on and save it, it just gives it the next number. It doesn't kind of drop back. So now I'm going to hit the home button, say OK to delete all the patterns, and now I'm going to go to retrieve data from the machine. I'm going to scroll to the last page, and there is pattern 134. So that's on the machine as well. If I cut it and I decide I don't want to keep it on the machine, I can get rid of it. So I can hit delete and I can say OK, and it's gone. So 134 has now disappeared. I'm just going to hit the home button and come back to Canvas Workspace and go back to my projects. So is everybody okay with that bit so far? Because I'm going to show you next how to get a file from the ScanNCut machine into Canvas. And then we're going to look at the other SVGs and see what's going on with them. I'm just going to have a quick drink. Charlotte, it depends. Some people like to keep the files on their machine. I personally prefer to keep all mine in Canvas Workspace online and just save them all in the cloud. And then what I do, I transfer files over to the machine using the Wi-Fi, and I cut them. And then every now and again, I'll go through all the files on my machine and I'll think, right, I know I've got all that saved in Canvas online. I don't need it on my machine. And I just go through and delete them. It's entirely up to you. It's the same as anything. There are many ways to deal with, not only creating files in Canvas, but, how you save them. The machine, from memory, I can't remember what the SDX is, but the CM models, I think from memory, could save, was it 60 mats worth? But that's full mats worth. So if you keep piling stuff onto your machine, eventually you'll come to save a file and it'll say you've not got enough storage. So this is why I always tend to lean to Canvas Workspace online, because you can save everything in your projects. I mean, I've got files and files and files and files and files here. I can keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and all my files are all in here, going back 6 years, as long as I've used Canvas. So to me, it makes sense to store them in Canvas, but everybody works differently. You might want to keep files in a file on your computer. I've got files also on my computer. From when I first started with my CM600, I used to save them in Canvas online. I used to save them in a folder on my computer, and then I used to save them on the machine, and then every so often get rid of them off the machine. So you just end up with files everywhere. Right, let me go back. So I've answered the one about why would you save to the machine. Patty's saying machine has limited storage. Rachel's saying, I've been looking, Lynn, looks like we can't. Okay, so maybe that option's not available on Android. Yes, you can make it so much easier to follow. This is so helpful. I just downloaded some files yesterday and now we'll be comfortable at opening them. Okay, yes, very well explained. That's how I save them. Okay, there are too many for me. I'm not a decisive person. Hope it's gin. I've obviously missed a comment there. This demo is so helpful. Just downloaded some SVGs yesterday and now will be comfortable using them. I have everything on a dedicated hard drive. Yeah, see, that's another way, Lynn, isn't it? You know, have an external or, you know, another hard drive. If you have saved a file on your machine, can you add to a project that is saved? Karen, just, sorry, if you have saved a file on your machine, can you add to a project that is, yes, you can. Okay, so let me, hang on, let me flick. Okay, so I'm going to go to retrieve data on my machine. I'm going to go to the machine, scroll to the last page, and I'll choose, what have we got on here? Let's try and find something that's not got masses of stuff on. Okay, so I've got a file here on my machine that's the 2 dogs that's part of that Stampin' Up stamp set. Right, Karen, do you want to save something that's from Canvas in addition to the dogs, or do you want to save something else that's on the machine with the dogs? If you just let me know, and then I can carry on reading. Pat saying she saves hers to a USB. Yeah, see, everybody's different. I just prefer to save mine online in the cloud. Yeah, I've got them all over the place now. So yeah, you'd need to get organised, Charlotte. I have a Mac, so when I save on Canvas Workspace, does it automatically go to the cloud? Bonnie, if you are using Canvas Workspace online, which you should be able to now see here, some of my projects. So if I open up the tags again now, when I put the name in the box here to save it and I hit this icon, Bonnie, that's automatically saving it in the cloud because this is a web-based or cloud-based program. So does that help? Barbara's saying she saves hers onto a stick. Yeah, my laptop is an old dinosaur, so don't trust it. Well, yeah, I get that, Lynn. So you're using a hard drive, aren't you? But you could also save them in the cloud, and then you've got like an extra backup. I've started saving on USB sticks, different sticks for different occasions. And yeah, I have a folder on my computer called ScanNCut, and within that folder it's got subfolders. So it's got things like number shaped cards, and then another folder called letter shaped cards, and then another folder called boxes, and then another folder called, you know, envelopes, and so on and so on. So I do have a folder on my computer. As I say, it's from when I first got my CM600, but I also, for the majority of the time, save here online. Right, Bonnie, that's got your question right? Okay, so let me try. Let me find Karen. Any really, you choose. Thanks. Right. Okay. So let's go to. We'll select a new page. I'll grab a border. Let's just grab the heart border. Make it a bit smaller. Okay. I'm just going to call it heart border, if I can spell. I'm going to save it in the cloud. I don't need to because it's only for Karen, but this would be how I would do it. Save it in the cloud, then download it. I'm going to use the Wi-Fi transfer. It's telling me, yes, it's ready, so I can close. So now, Karen, let me flick the screen again. So let's start from the beginning. So we're going to retrieve data, something I've already got in the machine, scroll down, find my dogs, say OK to put them on the mat. I'll bring them down here out of the way. And by the way, if you're curious, I'm only using my Apple Pencil because I've not got my ScanNCut open, and I've got the camera again on a stand next to it, and I didn't want to have to move it and everything to get my stylus out. So I'm using my Apple. So I'm going to go, I might have to save the file first. So retrieve data from canvas, and there's the border. So now I can say save to the machine, and it's going to say to me, do you want to save this file now as a new file, or do you want to overwrite the original? So if it's something that you don't mind having all together, you would say overwrite the original. If it was something you want to save as a completely new file, you would save new. Okay, so so Karen, has that answered the question? So I'm not going to save either. I'm just going to hit the home button because I don't particularly, oh, it's not going to let me. So I'm going to say overwrite. Because I didn't necessarily want the border with the dogs, but I can always go back in and delete it. So it's resaving that file. So I'll say OK, hit the home button, OK to delete, retrieve data from the machine, find my dogs. Oh, yeah, find my dogs, say OK, and then if I decide I don't want that border there, I can go edit, delete, because I've selected the border. Yes, it's OK to delete. OK, save to the machine and overwrite the file, and I'm back to just the dogs on their own. So is that OK? So now let's go to Canvas Workspace for computer. That's there. And I can get rid of that one for a minute, and then we'll open up this one. Now, somebody messaged me earlier on, was it Mandy? And she wanted to know where her files are that she has in Canvas Online. And she's using the web-based version. You can't see your web-based files in the computer-based version. Yeah, I know it's very confusing. It's confusing to me. Right, so I'm going to bring in another SVG file, but this time now we're using Canvas Workspace for PC or for computer. What's Rachel saying? Does anyone know if the Apple Stylus pen works with an Android? I've no idea. I can't help you there. Learning something new every week. Mandy, it was you. Right, okay. So the only way you can find your files that you've saved, Mandy, that you've saved online in the cloud, is by using the other program that we've just had open, this one. And you go to Canvas Workspace and you get to My Projects and all your files are here. Okay? The downloadable version doesn't save your files within the program. You've got to save them separately, and this is why I think it's very confusing. So, and the way that you know you're on the computer-based version, for anybody that's confused, is that you get these icons down the right-hand side here, and you've got no big purple download button over here, which is what you do have in the Canvas Online. Right, Claire's saying, I have a CM. Why is it when I don't save to my USB and save it to my PC instead, sometimes it saves as an Inkscape file? It sounds as though you've got your default file set as an SVG. If you're making files on your CM machine, if you're making files in Canvas for any model machine, CM, SDX, DX, they save as FCM files. So what you need to do when you save to USB, you need to go to where it says File Save and make sure that the dot extension at the end is FCM and not SVG. I definitely prefer the web-based version, Karen. Mandy, it is so confusing, it really is. Ashley, what are the 3 coloured dots in the top left-hand corner? I don't have them. Where? Oh, is it in this one? Hang on. Ellen, is it these 3 dots here? I don't know what you mean, Ellen. Sorry, can you just tell me and then I can move on? Yeah, so Lynn, that's what I was going to get to in a minute when using the offline version, the PC version as they call it, but it's Windows or Mac. If you've got options again, that's what I mean. It's very confusing. If you save a file that you make in the computer-based version, it saves it as what's called a Canvas Workspace project file, which is CWPRJ. You have to physically tell it to export it as an FCM. There, because I've got premium functions, Ellen, I've got the rhinestone and the sticker kit. That's what they're all about. That's how they show up in the web-based version. Okay, so let me come back to for computer now. Okay, so we're in Canvas Workspace for computer now. I'm going to find one of the SVG files that's in that folder that I showed you at the beginning on my desktop. So I need to go to the top of my page and I go to File, Import from Computer. Then it should ask me where on my computer. So I'm on my desktop. Here's my folder, 24th of June. This time we'll go to GIF Wallet. So I'm going to double click on GIF Wallet. Again, you've got pictures of the design. You've got a PDF that should show you what's in the cutting file. And you've got a folder called SVG. And again, we've got elements. So I don't think we can choose all 3. No, we can't. So again, I'm going to choose the first element and say open. And it's going to put it on my desk. Now I can see, I don't know, you might not be able to see this, but there are very faint white dashed lines. And I don't know whether this is grouped or ungrouped. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just drag an imaginary box around everything and right click and see if I've got a group option, and I have, so I can group it. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. I'm going to come back to the top of my page, File, Import from Computer, and bring the next element in and say Open. And again, I can see this looks as though it's grouped and there are dash lines in there, but all the elements are not grouped together. So I'll undo that. So I'm going to drag an imaginary box around everything, right click and group them just for now and move them off to one side. And then I'm going to come back to the top of my screen again and do File, Import, and bring in the third element. And again, I'm just going to select everything and make them a group. Oh, I don't need to. Look, like these are already a group. Okay, so let me just make my screen a bit bigger. Can you still see? Yeah. So I'm going to go back to the folder that I've got on my desktop, and I'm going to come to this GIF wallet, and I'm going to open the PDF and see what we've got. So you should be able to see, again, this is something I must have got from Dreaming Tree. I don't know whether I got them all from Dreaming Tree or not. But anyway, so if I scroll down through the document, again, it's telling you what the sizes of these elements should be. So this first red section, it's saying should be 7 inches wide. And this section with these 3 green bits should be 7.5. So let's move that out of the way and bring the red bit back in. Now, obviously, we're in the computer-based version, so we've got no size down here when we're selected. So I'm going to come to the Edit tab, and then I can see here it's saying 7 inches wide. So again, I can be confident in knowing that if this is 7 inches wide, that the rest of the file is coming in at the right size. So if I click on these bits, it said this was 7.5, didn't it? And if you look over here now, it's saying 7.5. So all this SVG file looks as though it's all coming in at the right size. Right, let me just go back a few comments, because I know I must be missing loads, but I kind of want to try and get in as much as I can get in for you all. So we've got Sophia. Hola, Sophia. Ellen, I think these coloured dots are little icons for kits. Yes, they are. They're the rhinestone kits and the sticker kit, that kind of thing. Could you not click on SVG button on the left bar to import? Yes, you probably could. We'll try that with the next one. So you can also group and ungroup. You can from the layers palette, definitely. Yeah, that's what I mean. See, you're all coming in now, aren't you? You're all chipping in with the suggestions and everything. It's like I said the other week, it's funny, isn't it? I kind of do things my way, but there are other ways to do things. And when I'm going over stuff like this, I just tend to do the way that's the most comfortable, if you like, I suppose, for me. So, you know, go in File and Import for me is just the way I've always done it, rather than like Lynn is saying, you could use SVG and get to the same place. So, you know, we'll do that on the next one. So again, we've got all the elements of this design and they've all come in at the right size. Now, again, what I would do, this one, I would definitely leave grouped because it's got dash lines in it. And I don't know if you can hear my clock going off now. I would want to make sure that if I was going to, you know, resize this, that this was all grouped so that the dash lines didn't move. So that element I would definitely keep grouped. This section here, let me move that out of the way for a minute. This section here, I would probably ungroup, but I would group any elements that have got dash lines with it. So at the moment, I've got a big box around all the 3 sections. So I would just right click and ungroup, but like Lynn or someone's just said, in your layers panel, you can group and ungroup here. So if I click on this now, I don't actually know what's going on because they're all still a group. Let me see. Okay, so this that you can see on the screen, I think is the dash lines. So I'm going to move it back. sorry, just give me 1 minute. Yeah, they're the dash lines. So let's see if we can make them a different colour because you can't see them. Okay, you can see them a bit better there now. So they're the dash lines that go with this top section. I would group. Oh, I see what's happening. So the dash lines are separate and these are a group. Okay, let's see if we can ungroup. So, right, okay. So this file, again, has been made a bit peculiar. I'm just going to move those dash lines out of the way. This section here, when I right click, there's no group or ungroup option, but they are all grouped together. So again, we'd have to try. Oh, let's look in the layers panel, or let's try divide. Okay, right, so these have been grouped together, but for some reason, the dash lines that go with this top element haven't been grouped with that element. So I would bring those back in and fit them to where they look as though they go. And then I would select both of those and make them a group. So that's one element that's now grouped together. And again, there's bits here. I think it's just how they've made the file. They've kind of left the bits in, which doesn't kind of make sense really. So I would be inclined to move that out of the way and delete them, because to me, I don't think they're needed. And then this is another section of your design. And then this is the last section. So you've got 3 separate elements there. And then this is another bit. Again, you know, you might not want to cut these two together. I don't know what they are in relation to the pattern. But again, if there's no ungroup option, use divide and see if that breaks them up. And then I would just put them all onto one mat and then save them. Now, this is where the saving is different. So if we go to the top of the page, from here now, if we just click save, it will save this same file. Let me just try it. Yeah, it's going to say, it's going to give me a box to save it in its original folder where I got it from. So basically, can you see here? I could go to the desktop. I can't find my folder, but anyway. I would put it on the desktop and then drag it to where you want to drag it to. But if you go File, Save As, this is going to save as this CWPRJ folder file. And this is a Canvas Workspace project folder, which to me, I don't know. It's up to you. If you like to save your files on your computer as a backup, then do File, Save As, give it a name and save it somewhere. I'm just going to call it Wallet for now, and I'm going to put it on my desktop and save it. And then I'll go back to my desktop and I'll show you what I mean. So now, here's that working file I've just saved. And the extension is CWPRJ. It's just a working file. To me, I don't know. I save some of them, but it's entirely up to you. If you want to save it as a Canvas Workspace file, let me get back to my right screen. Okay, you go File and you go Export FCM if you're saving it to a USB stick, or you do Transfer File via Internet. So this is the exact same thing I did before using the online version. So there are many ways to save and it's very confusing. That's all I can say. Mandy's saying, what's the advantage of ungrouping? Well, you may not want to cut them all together for a start. You may want to have a look at them and see whether the dash lines within the file are dash lines. Like this red section here, I can see has got dash lines on it. If I ungroup it and then go to those dash lines, let me just move them out of the way. And I'm going to make them black in the hope you can see them better. So these are the dash lines that are within this pattern. But if I look up here, it looks as though Canvas thinks they're a solid line. So to me, it might cut those as a complete line and cut your design in half. So by ungrouping it and have a looking at it, I would be more inclined to choose a dashed pattern. And then I know I've assigned these lines as dashed cut lines for within this element. So that's just something I do. You don't have to ungroup them. If you just want to literally cut everything as your files come in, that's, you do that. But I like to kind of see what I'm getting. I like to, pick the file apart and have a good look at it. You could choose a solid score line instead and use the embossing tool, definitely, yeah. And that's another reason why you might want to take the file apart. If you just get a file off the internet and you just go and cut it and it cuts file, well then yes, happy days, that's, you've got what you expected. But sometimes you get a file off the internet and you cut it and it's not what you expected. And it's like I said, when we were doing the, what was it? The dogs, the stamping, the cutting the stamped images the other week. If you invest the time initially to see what you're working with, it will save you time in the long run. Because to me, if I sent this over to my ScanNCut machine now, looking at this element here, it looks to me as though those dash lines would cut as a solid line. They might not. They might cut as dash lines, but again, it might just completely cut the design up, and then I've wasted my time and I've wasted my card. So invest the time in looking at your files first, and then you can see what you're dealing with, and how to save them or do whatever you want to do. Patty H is saying, I made this last month. I had to fiddle with it to make it to my liking. What was that, Patty? This file I'm looking at now, this wallet. Right, so is everybody okay with where we are at the minute? Because I've got another SVG that I just want to have a look at, because I think one of these I have a feeling might have come in a different size. When I downloaded them, I had a very quick look at them at weekend, but other than that I've not done anything with them, and I just want to see if there's anything peculiar with any of them. So just going back to this while we've got it on the screen, if we go File, Save. In fact, hang on, I'm going to get rid of the one I saved on my desktop because it wants to save it again. So can you still see what I'm seeing? So I've got this file here. I'm going to go File, Save. And what it's doing, because I've pulled this file in from an SVG file that's already on my computer, it's saving this file as an SVG, but with the name I'm giving it, rather than the name that's in my folder. Okay. The other option is File, Save As, and that will save it as a Canvas Workspace folder, which you can't use on your machine. And then the option, which is the one I would use the most, is just File and Export. And I would either export it to a USB stick that's on my machine and drag it on there, or I would send it over via Wi-Fi. So now I'm just going to get rid of that, and I'm going to do what Lynn said before, and I'm going to go to SVG. Remember, I'm still in the computer-based version. I'm going to go to SVG. I'm going to go and find that 24th of June folder that's on my desktop, and I'm going to go to the last folder, which is something to do with a wedding. Now in this folder, you've got a PNG, which is a ping. It's basically, it's an image, isn't it, with no colour in the background. You've got the SVG and you've got a JPEG. So it's the SVG we want, because the SVG is a cutting file. So I'm going to say open, and it's going to bring this file onto my mat. You can choose a solid cut. Yeah, we've got that. I made this last month. Try to fiddle. I did not know you could divide DT files. That's a great help. Okay. Debbie, that was a great tip for me too. Do you have to use this version compared to the web? Do you have to use this version? Rachel, you can use whatever you want. You can use the online version if you prefer, or you can use the computer-based version. I know I say this all the time and you're probably sick of hearing me say it, but I always tend to go to the online version first. The only reason I would come to the computer-based version is if I wanted to use a font that's on my machine, because we can't use our own fonts in Canvas Online. Also, if I was maybe wanting to make a box or something where I want to position, score lines specifically, because we've got the X and Y axis where we can, exactly position a score line rather than trying to guess where an inch line is on, Canvas Online. So I always use online, but I use the download for specific reasons. So Barbara's saying this is clearing a few things up. That's good. I've missed loads of messages. I'm really sorry. I'm trying to go back. Could you show using the embossing tool for score lines sometime? Yes, I could. I've not actually got the embossing tool at the moment. I was supposed to get it and it's not arrived. But yes, when I do, we could do that. The wallet. Okay, so you've had trouble with the wallet. Okay. Well, like I say, Patty, maybe, just have a look at it. Look at the elements and see what you think. You're beyond amazing. Oh, thank you. That's fine. I am with Patty. Can you combine cutting and scoring in the same file? Yes. That's what I've just shown you, Vicky. That red element of that wallet was, the red was a cut and those white lines were dashed score lines, but you could change those dashed lines to solid lines. You would have to give them, you'd have to assign them as a draw line, so a pen line, and then instead of putting your pen into your machine, you'd put your embossing tip into your machine and score them. Jane saying, if I have a lot of SVG on my computer to do with weddings, can I save them all under wedding in one file? Yes. So Jane, what you do, let's go back to the desktop. Let me just get rid of this. So Jane, what the best way to do it, this is the way I do it anyway. You'll find your own way, but this is how I would do it initially. Find an empty space on your desktop and right click, and on mine you get the option for new folder. You'll have that on Windows as well. Create a folder. I'm going to click it and rename it, and then where I would say wedding. Okay. So can I save them all under under wedding in one file on my USB pen? And will I be able to open them separately? Yes. So this is what I've been doing on my Sundays when you see me, when I say I've got a USB stick in my machine. So you create a file. Let's just grab wallet in it for now. We'll just put wallet in it. I know it's nothing to do with weddings. So I've got this folder here now called weddings. So imagine this is your folder, Jane, with all your different cutting files in it. Again, you can name your cutting files. So this I called wallet. If I right click on this and rename, I could say make this ring, let's say, and enter. Obviously you'd have FCM or SVG at the end. You wouldn't have CWPRJ. So you name your individual files within a folder that's also named. And then just put your USB stick into your machine, Jane. Drag this folder onto your USB stick. And then when you put the stick into your machine, you'll be able to find this folder. And then you click on it and your other files inside it will all be there. Rachel's saying, okay, thanks, I do as well. Don't think my brain could handle 2. I didn't know about the X and Y. Can you show? Yeah, we'll maybe do a simple box or something, Lynn. Maybe next Wednesday, unless anybody's got anything else for next Wednesday, we could maybe try and make something simple where you use the X and Ys. Charlotte's saying, yay, on embossing and cutting the same file. Yeah, you can. If you assign the line that you're going to use with your embossing tool, assign it as a draw line within Canvas. So you'll have, part of it as draw, part of it as cut, and then you'll go to your machine, and when you choose draw, you put the embossing tool in, and that'll do the score lines for you. Okay, right, I'm going to get rid of wedding file because I don't need that. I wanted to show you something with this last file, so let me come back to this file. So, not actually quite sure what this has got to do with weddings, but obviously it's in a folder called wedding. And it's actually quite pretty, isn't it? It's this like deer or stag head with these flowers. Now, again, there's no group or ungroup, so this must be all one file. But what if you wanted to put, an offset border around it? What if you wanted to maybe, what size is it? Let's have a look. So it's just under 7 inches wide and over 7.5 inches high, this. Looking at it, I'm going to just zoom in. Some of these elements look quite small. I don't think I would probably be tempted to shrink this down a lot and make it into a card, but you could try it. But let's just say you wanted to maybe, make it into maybe a home decor piece or something. You could cut this in vinyl and put it onto a piece of card, or you could cut it in card and layer it up. So you might want to, create an offset around it. So with it selected, let's go to offset and let's give it, say, a 0.04 offset. Just around the outside edge. So we won't cut all the flowers out. We'll just do it as an offset around the outside edge. Now it won't let me. Okay. And I'm guessing, I knew there was something with one of these files. I'm guessing it's something to do with all these lines here. So if you just wanted to cut this as it is, as this layer, with the flowers that are see-through, no problem, just cut it. Excuse me. But if you wanted to maybe make a matting layer for it, it won't let you with this SVG file. So if we go back to SVG, we can see in the folder there was a PNG and there was a JPEG. So let's go to Auto Trace. And you can do this whether you're in the computer version or the online version. I'm just doing it in this one because I'm in the computer version now. So we're going to choose Image Tracing. Choose a file. So I'm navigating to my desktop, to the folder I'm working with tonight, to the wedding folder. You can see that SVG is greyed out, and that's because you can't auto trace an SVG because it's already a cutting file. I'm going to choose JPEG and say open. You could probably choose PNG, it doesn't matter. Now you can see straight away it's giving me cut lines around the outside, but I want the inside as well. So I'm going to click on here and choose Trace All Areas. I'm assuming you are still seeing me. Yeah, okay. So now you can see it's picking up all the middles of the flowers and the outside of this design. I'm going to say OK. And now it's, let me get rid of the black one because that's the SVG. So now, stop it. It won't even let me choose it now. Hang on. Oh, I know why, I think. Hang on, let's delete that. Let's go back. Let's try JPEG again. Open. I don't want to paste the image of the drawing. I want the inside and the outsides of the lines. Let's see if it lets me do it this time. Let's say OK. And there is my cutting file now. I had the image chosen instead of the cutting file. So here is a cutting file of the JPEG. Now, if I zoom in, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, I can see there's some odd stuff going on here in this cutting file. So again, this is where you're going to have to invest a little bit of time if you have to do something like this. If you wanted to create, something else of the SVG and it won't let you, but you've got a JPEG or a PNG option, then you can auto trace and create a cut file. Now I can see there's something a bit odd going on in the middle here, so I'm trying to zoom into it, but because I've got that many things going on my screen, it's giving me a bit of trouble. So if I move this out of the way, it's picked up double lines. So I'm going to delete one set. And then over here again, it's creating double lines. So let's see, let's go back and let's try. We'll get rid of that one altogether. And let's try the PNG and see what happens. But this is the kind of thing that you have to do. You don't have to do it if you're just going to cut it and no problem. I've just seen a comment from Vicky. There's no layers in the online version, Vicky. That's another reason why you would use the computer version. Oh, and I've just seen Doreen's answered it. Brilliant. So I'm going to say I don't want to paste the original image. I'm going to take the number of colours down. I'm going to say I want to trace the inside and the outside, and I'm going to say OK. And again, I can see double black lines in the middle here. I don't know how well you're going to see this, but the outside of the deer or stag, whatever it is, is paler than the flowers. So that means that there's double things going on here. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to click on anything that looks as though it's darker than the outside and hit delete. And you can see there are double layers. Do you remember we had this same thing a few weeks ago? I've clicked on something too much now. So I'm clicking on the bits that are darker, but now it's selected the whole deer. So I'm going to come to my layers panel, and I'm going to find the outside of the deer and drag it all the way to the bottom of the layers panel. Or in fact, I'll hide it. That's easier. So now when I click, I'll undo that one because I must have already deleted it. So when I click on anything that's double black, sometimes it's double line, sometimes it's not. And if it's not, I can just undo. Okay, so let's bring the deer head back in, because I think there's some things going on with this, like this flower here, I think is a double. Yeah, if I click it, you see things I'm deleting on my keyboard, but bits are remaining. And it's because this deer head is not only picking up the deer, it's picking up double bits as well. And it's all these double bits that you've got to get rid of, because your machine will try and cut twice. Now it's on a go slow. Let's delete that one. See the circle there, that's darker. Yes, we did do this before. Let me just undo because something's just gone a bit odd there. Let me just get rid of the layers panel, and I'm just going to zoom back out a little bit because I'm zoomed in and I can't see what I'm doing. So I'm clicking on the deer now and I'm getting the whole box around it. I'm just going to right click and see if there's any kind of ungroup option, and there isn't. So I'm going to slide this out of the way, and I'm going to get rid of all these bits here because these are all double bits. And then I'm going to select this and bring it back in. Now, hopefully, we should be able to put an offset around this because we've made a cutting file from the JPEG version. So keep your fingers crossed and see if this works. So we'll go to Edit, we'll go down to Offset, and we'll try a 0.04 outward and say OK. And this time it's let me create an offset. So if I fill the offset with black, and then if I fill this with pink, and let's bring the pink bit to the front, we can layer up. So can you see what I mean? So with the original, let's just move that over to one side. We go back to SVG and bring in the SVG cutting file. Here, we couldn't put an offset around this. When we went to offset and tried to do the offset and said OK, it said this operation wasn't allowed. And I think that's something to do with the way this file has been made, and it'll probably be something to do with all these intersecting flowers here. So if you ever get that, and in your folder, I'm going to get rid of that out of the way for a minute. So if that ever happens to you, but within your SVG folder for your file you've downloaded, you've got the options for PNG or JPEG, you can auto trace. And then you auto trace in your cut file. So this black one here wouldn't be needed because we've now auto traced a clean version, and we've put an offset, we've made an offset. And when we brought the auto traced element on and we had all those double layers underneath, I think that's why the original SVG won't let you do an offset because there's hidden double bits, if that makes sense. So let me go back. So yeah, I've answered Vicky, you can't see the layers in the online version because yeah, we don't have layers. So in the computer-based version, as I say, we've got the facility to use our own fonts. We've got the X and Y axis. We've got the layers. We've got snap to grid and that kind of thing. So there are features in the computer-based version that are not in the online version. And as I say, unless they're features that you use all the time, I just tend to use the online version and use the computer-based version when I need that particular feature. Okay, that's all right. Okay. Hi, Janita. Arriving late, I'll have to watch from the beginning. Okay, no worries. It's a bit of a mixture, this. It's SVGs and savings. Oh, well done, Ashley. Looks great. I love that we don't have to be perfect and do it absolutely correctly the first time. No, I don't. You just have to play around with it. Thank you. That has made sense to me now. Great. I always learn so much from you. Oh, you're welcome. Right, so are there any questions? Has anybody got any more questions on saving or any more questions on these particular SVGs? Snap to grid is when you can anchor a line. So if I choose the path icon now, Lynn, and click once and drag down and hold my shift key to keep it in a straight line and double click, it anchors that line. If I choose snap to grid and do the same, it will grab and automatically, I'm not touching my keyboard, it's grabbing this line that I'm dragging down with my mouse, but I'm not holding the shift key down or anything. It's literally just grabbing to each inch square on my mat, and then I can double click to anchor it. That's what snap to grid is. It can be very useful. It can be a pain sometimes if you have it on and you don't really want it. So I would leave it off and only switch it on if you wanted to. Mandy G saying the computer-based version does have great functions for designing, editing, but disadvantages too. Yeah. Thank you. I haven't really done anything on the machine other than just the first project. Missed so much due to a phone call. Doesn't matter, Karen. It'll be recorded, hopefully. I'm not understanding why. I'm not understanding why would you work offline? Well, as we've just said, Karen Ogden it is that's asking that question. To work offline, you're working in the computer-based program, and the computer-based program has got features that the online program doesn't have. So if it's a feature that you need that's only in the offline version, or in other words, the computer-based version, then you need to use that version. Otherwise, just go to Canvas Online. But be mindful that the download version has got these other features that, you know, don't just think you can't do something in Canvas because it's not there. It might be that you can do it in the download version. It would be a whole lot easier if the two programs were identical, but they're not, unfortunately. And we've got two different systems, and it's just understanding and learning which one of the programs works best for you. I mean, need to have a quick drink. I always learn so much from your lives, Ashley. Thank you. You're welcome. Karen, the offline version has more features. Yes, Vicky, the offline version has more features. So Karen's saying, oh my, and I thought online had enough. Yeah, there is a lot that you can do in the online version, Karen, but there's just a little bit more now that we can do in the offline version. you know, so it's up to you which one you use. Mandy's saying, I saved a scanned image in my ScanNCut today, but can't find how to retrieve it in Canvas Workspace for PC. Okay, so Mandy, let me just go back. Okay, so Mandy said, right, okay, let me get rid of these. I saved a scanned image in my ScanNCut to Canvas Workspace today, but can't find how to retrieve it in Canvas Workspace for PC. Okay, do I have to use it? Do I have to use the online to retrieve? No, you can retrieve it in either. So let's go back to, okay, let's go back to my machine, which has gone to sleep. Let's home button. Okay, so let me find a file that's on here. In fact, let's just choose a pattern. Right, let's go to Mickey Mouse. Let's choose Mickey Mouse and say okay. Okay, set. So let's pretend I've scanned this image, Mandy, and I've got it here on the machine. And I click save, and it's going to ask me where to save it. So this icon on the right hand side is anything to do with Canvas. So this is Canvas offline or Canvas for computer, however we want to call it. And this is Canvas online or Canvas for web. Okay, so if I choose save to Canvas, oh, it won't let me because it's a Mickey Mouse. Goodness sake. Let's go home. Let's choose a simple one then. So pattern. Let's choose a scallop square. Set. Bring it into the middle of the screen so hopefully you can see it. Save it. Save it to Canvas. Okay. Right, Mandy. Open up Canvas. Hang on, just give me a minute. I've got that many things going on my desk. Okay, so this is Canvas Workspace for computer, Mandy. So you open up your Canvas program on your computer and you go to File, Import from Cutting Machine, FCM file. So if it's a cutting file that you've made, if you scanned something in and you made an outline around it, it's an FCM file. If it's just something that you've scanned and used, scan an image, then it's that one. But if you've scanned something and made it into a cutting file, it's here. So if I click this now, there is my scallop square that you've just seen me pull up from my machine and save to Canvas. Now, if I open Canvas Workspace for web, let me get rid of that one. So now I'm here. This is Canvas Workspace. Oh, you're not seeing it, are you? Hang on. Can you see Canvas Workspace for web now? We should be able to go to My Projects, I think. And there is the scallop from the machine. Now, when it comes into Canvas Online, it gives it this just a file number. So I would open it by using this icon here. You can see the generic name it's given it. You can select it and highlight it, rename it and save it in your machine. Now it's going to say to me, do you want to save it as another project or overwrite this? I might as well just overwrite this and say OK. So now when I go back to Canvas Workspace and go to my projects, there's my scallop and it's called scallop. So I've renamed it. Lynn's put, brother, never do anything helpful. How do you get to the offline version? Karen, you need to come to here, canvasworkspace.brother.com. Let me log out. So let's go to the internet. Let me do it another way because it's logging me in every time. So let's go to Safari. Let's type in brother scan and cut canvas. Can you see what I'm seeing? Yeah. And it's here, canvasworkspace.brother.com. I need to log out. It won't, it keeps logging. I need to be able to show you where it is. Hang on. Right. So this is what you'll get to. Who's just asked that question? I've forgotten already. Karen Ogden. So canvasworkspace.brother.com and it'll bring you to this page. Okay. And to get the offline or download version, it's here. So you either create an account. Well, you have to do this anyway. You create an account to use the online version. So Karen, if you've already got an online version, you need to log out and then come back. And before you log in here, you see this great big black icon that says download for Windows or Mac. And that's how you get the download version. And you download it and you have to install it on your computer. Caroline's saying, I bring such clarity. You need more than a quick drink dealing with all our questions. It's okay. Thank you for another brilliant tutorial. Karen, you have to download it, yeah. Why can't the programs be merged? They can't. It's just the way it is. One's a cloud-based program, so an online version, and one is a downloadable version that they gave us with extra features. I've no idea why they can't just give us all the features in the online version and just let us work online, but you know, hey ho. Yes, Karen, when you open the online version, there's usually a log on bit and it's, yeah, that exactly right above him, the big black icon that says download. Yeah, if you download it, it means you then have access, Karen Ogden, to both options, either to use the online version by going to a browser and logging in online, or by just opening the download program. Okay, so Mandy's saying you did ScanNCut data. Okay, well, if you do ScanNCut data, Mandy, that's where you go. Open up your program, whichever one you want to open, and just do what I've just said to do. Jane's saying, if I trace SVG on computer and save to USB, do I have to open the file with the USB in laptop, or will it recognize? You can, if you're using an SVG on your computer and you put it onto a stick, Jane, you can open an SVG from the stick on your ScanNCut machine directly. Or if you've got Wi-Fi, you can just send it over wirelessly. Lynn's saying, question, once you've been working in online and go to wanting one of the projects from the left taskbar that you may want to edit, when you open, doesn't it bring the title of the project with it? Let me read that again, sorry. Once you've been working in online and go to wanting one of, yes, if you're working in online and you've already got something saved online with a name, it will show you the name. If you bring the file over like I've just shown from the ScanNCut machine, it will bring it in with that generic number and then you rename it. Is that what you mean, Lynn? Vicky's saying, I wish they would offer an upgrade to get the built-in patterns from the newer machines added to the CM550. I would be willing to pay a reasonable amount since I don't want to buy a new machine. Yeah, I don't think they offer all the new design. I mean, if it's a design that you can buy on one of the activation cards, Vicky, then yes, you can put them in your CM350. Excuse me, I need a drink. So if it's any of the Disney activation cards, excuse me, or any of the other activation cards, you know, like the ping pong fonts and that kind of thing, you can put any of them on your CM machine. As far as I'm aware, they work on any CM model. I've been closing down Canvas and relaunching to bring in an edited name version. Okay, Lynn, let me have a go. I'm not sure what you mean. Let's go back to Canvas. In fact, have I still got it open? No, that's the download. Let's get rid of that. No, I don't want to save that. Right, let me go back to Canvas and let me log in and start a new document. So what we're saying, Lynn, so let's just bring a logo on for now. Okay. Right, Lynn, what we're saying, you want to bring an existing file from Canvas that's already saved. Is that what you mean? Because if you do, you go to My Projects here and you just look for the file. They won't have names here. Well, I'll rephrase that. You won't see a name initially, but when you hover over it, you'll see the name of the file that you've given it. Right, let me see what you're saying. No, if you open a My Project file from the left taskbar, the name doesn't come in. Okay, so do you mean like the perfume bottles here? Ah, see what you mean now. So when you bring this on, the name's not there. Right, okay. No, but if you go to your, let's leave that page. If you come back to your projects here, your files they're named here. So they don't kind of really need to be named, I suppose. Yeah, I've ended up with multiples of the same file in the past, and all as I do, I hover over it, and when I see the X, I delete it. Okay, so what you're saying, just go to My Projects. All right, so go to My Projects. And open a file. No, it comes in with the name that you've saved it as. It only comes in with a number if you've not given it a name here. Right, let's go back. So let's go back to Canvas Workspace. We'll create a new file. I'll drag in Back to School. Okay, so I've got Back to School on here. If I save this now here and don't put anything in the title, so I'm just going to save it and say OK. I'm going to go back to Canvas, back to My Projects, and here is Back to School with a generic number because I didn't give it a name. So if I open this file now, it comes in with that number. That's because I didn't give it a name before. So you have to kind of make sure you're naming and saving. So if I highlight this now and change that generic number to back to school and hit save, it's going to ask me, do I want to overwrite the project or save it as another? So I want to overwrite it so I don't end up with two. So I'm going to say overwrite, OK. Now I go back to Canvas, back to my projects, and I've not got two of the back to school because I overwrote the first one. And you can see here, it says back to school, and that's because I gave it the name. Does that make sense? So Lynn's now saying, just curious, when you open from the left taskbar, my project, why, when it's already titled and you've worked on it, why doesn't it come up? So when you open a new document and you go to my projects from here, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't show you a name here until you hover over it. So if I scroll down through all these, if I move away, there's no names on these mandalas. But if I hover over one, you can see I've named it mandala. I presume because it's saving space, it's just giving you a thumbnail of the mat. So Rosemary is saying, my machine is SDX125E. What is the difference with the machine you use? Okay, so the machine I use, Rosemary, in the UK it's called the SDX 2200, so 2200 Disney. And that's the latest machine with the most up-to-date technology. So the roll feeder was causing a problem in previous DX models, and I understand that that has been rectified in the Disney machine. So in the US, I think it's called the Disney Innovis. If it's Disney, it's the same machine as I use, as far as I'm aware. So it's got the latest roll feeder, upgrades, and it's obviously got all the Disney patterns. But if you've got an SDX125E, the way to get the Disney characters, Rosemary, is to buy the Disney activation cards. So where are you, Rosemary? Lynn, yeah, there's no title because it's already been saved in Canvas up here. But if I go to save the file again now, I can save it. But if I give it, and it's going to give it a generic name. But I understand what you're saying. It's just, basically, if you open a file from the left-hand side of my projects, it means it's a file you've already got saved. So if you hover over it, you'll be able to see what it's called. So like this one's called Scallop. So, if I add to this, so if I say, right, okay, I've got a scallop, I'm going to choose a basic shape and I'm going to add this funny triangle thing to it, and I want to save it. If I come up here and call it scallop and save it, it's going to ask me, do I want to overwrite it, because that file already exists. If I call it scallops with an S and save it, it's doing the same thing. So if it's on the left-hand side, then it's already saved, and you just have to basically remember what you've saved the file as. So yeah, In the UK, we have a Disney tab as well. And you can see the ones you've got activated. You can see the design, the ones that are locked. You can click on them and you can see what's in them. But we have to buy activation cards in the UK to be able to activate them. So in the US, you might be able to buy them through this tab, I'm not sure. But if you can't, then usually they're sold in like Brother stores, or you can get them online. So what's Bonnie saying? The SDX225 is the machine I have, so shouldn't need to buy the roll feeder. Yeah, what I mean, I don't mean the roll feeder for the vinyl. I mean, you know, sorry, I shouldn't have maybe said the roll feeder. It's got the advanced mat loading technology, not the roll feeder. Sorry, the roll feeder is a thing that you use to cut vinyl, isn't it, without using a mat. So the SDX 2200 Disney machine in the UK has got the mat loading issues sorted, if that makes sense. You're in Jamaica. Okay, so what I would do then, Rosemary, is have a look on the Disney tab in Canvas Workspace and see if there's an option to buy it. In the UK, we don't have that. So basically what you need to find is a brother dealer, preferably, that will sell the activation cards, and then you just activate them in Canvas online. They're like a little scratch card. You buy them and you scratch. I've got a video on my channel, Rosemary, about how to activate, you know, one of the cards. And you buy it and then you scribble the number off the back, and it gives you a big long, I think it's a 16-digit number. And then you go into Canvas online and you find that particular card that you've bought and you activate it and you put that code in. Failing that, craft shops will probably sell them, or you know, maybe somewhere online like Amazon or something. Okay, any last questions before I go, because it's 7:45. Barbara, you're welcome. Yeah, Rosemary, try online then. Try looking on Amazon or somewhere online. Just look for ScanNCut Disney activation cards. If you kind of do a Google search for that or look online, you should be able to find them. But if you look in Canvas and click on that Disney tab, you can see all the different cards and what they're called. And then click on that button I've just shown you now that says show all, and you can see the designs that are on that particular card before you go and buy it. Okay, Barbara, bye, thank you. Thank you so much for all the time you put aside to help us. It's fine, Jane. Seems like you need to buy from a dealer in Canada, somebody's saying. Okay, I don't know. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's fine. Just wanted to thank you for doing these videos. Oh, you're welcome, Karen Ogden. Amazon, I bought one of mine. Alison's saying, have a birthday drink and celebrate. Thank you. I have all the Disney activation cards. Is there any difference to those? Yeah, the Disney designs that are in the SDX 2200 are not the same as the ones that are on the card. Apparently, I've been told. So there are if you just buy the machine, you've got Disney designs in the machine. If you buy a card, you'll not have duplicates. Ellen's saying, Ashley, go and enjoy the rest of your birthday. Oh, thank you. Debbie's saying, I have the SDX 1200. Well, again, any of the SDX models or the CM models you can buy the Disney activation cards for. Thanks, Ashley, for all your information. Thank you so much for answering all my questions. It's all right. That's what we're trying to do here, Lynn. Amazon in Canada has some Disney cards, Vicky's saying. Oh, thank you, Caroline. So the thumbs up is the thumbs up under the video, not the thumbs up in the chat. That's one other thing I'd like to mention. Underneath every one of the videos, there's a like button, and that's the thumbs up. So when people are saying, give me thumbs up, or I say, yes, would you give me a thumbs up? It's the one underneath the video. It's the like button, not the big yellow thumbs up that appears in the chat. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Rosemary. Oh, thank you, Juanita. Right, so I think that's about wrapped us up. Hopefully, SVGs and saving has now been answered. Yeah, you can't sell anything that you make with the Disney designs. They're very heavily copyrighted. It's only like friends and family. And I think you can possibly give them to charity, but they can't be sold. So you couldn't give to a charity and then they sell them to make money. Does that make sense? As far as I'm aware, I think I was told one time you can give them to charities for free as long as they don't resell them, or you can use them for family and friends. Debbie, you're welcome. Vicky's saying, I have Disney on my embroidery machine and I hardly use them. Oh, that's such a shame. Because they are cute, aren't they? I mean, the Disney designs are fab. I love them. Right, I am going to go. I'm going to make sure that this uploads on YouTube. Try and fill in any description or anything that I didn't get a chance to put in before. And hopefully we've answered some more questions. Hopefully I'll see you on Sunday. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet on Sunday, but I will post as normal if there's going to be a live. I'm absolutely sweltering. My long hair is sticking to the back of my neck. Roll on the hairdressers opening in the UK. That's all I can say at the moment, so I can get my hair cut. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody. I'm going to sign off now because it's 10 to 8. See you all soon. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.